This is another Turbine Guy Network special investigative report.
Folks, Turbine Guy coming back at you with a story you will not believe. We all know that up here at Orono, there's all kinds of controversy lately. Selling and giving city property to each other, trying to squash the long history of the fire department and create their own, giving away Park, Summit Beach, that was a big one, and recently, pickleball courts at majestic, quaint Orono Golf Course. But all of this might just pale in comparison to what's going on now, because some of the personal activities of the mayor and a council member are coming out, and it's a little bit disturbing. Well, as y'all may remember, a few months ago, I put out a video talking about the Orono City Council and are they run by right-wing extremists? And now, it certainly turns out the Turbine Guy was onto something, because there's an article in something called TC Jewfolk, and coming out in the Star Tribune that are right on topic, not only for Walsh, but for Crosby as well. And they talk about how Walsh and his videos that Brad Erickson has been trying to get the Orono Council to deal with are anti-Semitic videos, anti-Jewish, and that Walsh is most likely an anti-Semite. Well, that goes right along with what the Turbine Guy was saying a few years ago. Now, you also get Crosby, who's a member of Proud Boys, and the Proud Boys have been determined to be anti-Semitic as well. If you'd watch that video, you would have seen it. But the real question to me here is, now that it's kind of being proven or being shown that, yes, the Orono City Council is led by these right-wing extremists that have infiltrated our community, I happen to be up at the Lafayette Country Club. Why am I here, you ask? Well, from what I understand, Walsh is a member of this place, and he comes up here and mingles with all these people and gets along in this private club. But are they going to keep him here? That's the real question. And that brings us to Richard Crosby, who was openly crowdfunded for a Minneapolis Proud Boy member who was stabbed after attacking a black man in Washington, D.C., who has attended protests at the state capitol denying the last election, and was supposedly seen on the Capitol steps on January 6th. Now, Crosby has been ducking out of all the public comments when he's been confronted about this by Brad Erickson up at City Hall. And he wasn't even at the last meeting at all. It could very well be that Crosby's actually being investigated by the FBI, because I understand they've been given all this information. And, you know, it's a bigger picture than we're talking about, because if he really was on the Capitol steps, there really was seditious activity. According to the 14th Amendment, I don't think he can hold public office anymore, and never will be able to. So there's a big question. But why am I here in front of Stiefel and Wyzetta, you ask? Well, Stiefel Financial, from what the Turbine Guy understands, is where Richard Crosby works. At least that's what it says online. So I contacted the head of the Minnesota Stiefel people, and I got absolutely no response, because I want to give them a chance to respond to what's going on with Crosby. Well, when I got no response here, I sent off to the national office for Stiefel in St. Louis, mailed them a packet. I know they got it because I got a phone call back saying they had it, and then silence. So my question is, does Stiefel support their advisors, their people who work there, who are anti-Semitic, as called out in the previous article, and potential election deniers and potential criminals? I don't know. You'd have to ask Stiefel for yourself. Well, there is some good news in all of this. Miss Benson, who was recently elected to the Orono Council, a breath of fresh air, who actually appears to care about the community, has come out and said that there is no place for anti-Semitism or hate on the Orono Council. And she's questioning and wondering why it took so long for people to actually hear what Brad has to say, because he's been up there for months, pounding away until he gets his point across. So there are several questions to answer here. What is the Lafayette Club going to do? Are they going to allow a reported anti-Semite right-wing extremist to continue to be a part of their group, or are they going to do something about it? What about Stiefel? Stiefel, who refused to talk to the Turbine Guy, are they going to, keep embracing one of their employees who, once again, could potentially be, and is reported to be, an anti-Semite right-wing extremist, but could also be a seditionist? Someone who was at the Capitol trying to take over our country. And lastly, and most importantly, what are the people of Orono going to do? Are they going to stand up and say, you know what, that's it? It's time this regime is gone. It's time we get some respect back in our community. It is time to move forward. I'll tell you what, folks, Turbine Guy's got his own opinion. His own opinion is these extremists have to go out the door. Let's bring some respectability back. Now, from the man who has his finger on the pulse of Orono like nobody else, Turbine Guy, signing off.